Welcome to the Transcend Money community. My name is Tony, and in today's video we analyze the news. We analyze the price of Bitcoin, and I share with all of you my trade, $500,000. Thank you very much, everyone, likes and new subscribers. We are going to start with the price of Bitcoin, which has had a fairly important correct option after the annual support that we discussed in the video yesterday. It has fallen by 444%. If we go, you already know that for me, we had this trend line important that came from the beginning, from the 2023 of this year, and we have just recently broken it. In fact, yesterday. And right now the price is testing a super important support for me too, not as much as the of 2023, but these are 28,000 and those between 28,000 and 27,700. So for me, this region is super important, and now we are counting down for the Bitcoin price to decide. Yes, it breaks the annual upward trend, and with that, we could go to levels that have been discussed in other channels, 25,000, 22,000, we would see, because that would depend on what happens to Standard and Poor's, or to the market's traditional ones that are making a correction right now. We are close to Old Ham High, the one with the highest high, and it has not been able to exceed this level of assistance, and we have had a correction. And right now, it is breaking transport behind support. In 4 hours, the RCI is already oversold, so we'll see when the correction is going to be. I think it's about to fall. I don't know if it's going to be in 43.79 or 43.60, but I think it won't be long. On the other hand, I read the DXY, the dollar index is finding support, and it has some pretty significant support here as well, coming from mid-July, and we'll see if it holds up to this resistance. In other words, if it can break this resistance that also joins this trend line that comes from this area here, from, let's call it the beginning of 2023, and there it will be quite resistant in my opinion. With all this situation right now, the possible scenarios that I see is that in this area here it begins to... Because, look, one important thing that I wanted to highlight is that the RCI is not oversold. It is that it is at 11 to 11.7. It's extremely oversold at 4 hours if we go to 1 hour. It's also extremely oversold at 16.77. Even on a daily basis, it is oversold at 28.67, the RSI. Therefore, here the question is, how or what I am wondering is how the correction is going to be. Because the correction of this fall could be either that it stabilizes in this area and continues to fall, looking for more liquidity, okay? It could go down to 27,300. I think it's a pretty important area of support. Look at all this area here that has support. Or it could do a pretty thing. Let's call it amazing, or exciting, or powerful, which would be something like this here. The only difference is that it already did it here in the support, and here it is not doing it in the support that comes from 2023. So a few possible scenarios that I could do would be to basically stay around this area here, and then go looking. I wanted to use a new tool, and I don't know if this is going to come out. Well, overall, I would have to look to stay in range to gather energy, and then go looking for this area here. Stay a bit also gathering energy, that is, hoping that it shows what resistance is, and then go to higher heights, because I do not think it is an extreme recovery in a V. If it were the bullish option, I think it would be more what I have commented. Here a little bit of range, go up to this resistance, do a little bit of range and go up to the next one. And here already, If he breaks this, he would take us to the fight of 31,000, and there he would show us the Bitcoin price if he has enough power. In other words, the basic question here, already discounted back, it cannot take many days, is whether it confirms that the market is going to become a crush, something very important, destructive, or it was simply to gain energy. News do we have? The news that we have is basically an important one, I think, is that one of the big banks in China is selling dollars for yuan. That's the news. The other is that basically the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and more countries that are coming together want to make their own currency, and they want international resource currency, and they want to make it backed by gold, basically. Those of the first proposals with which it can affect the entire economy in a violent way, especially the dollar. On the other hand, we have large companies. Valkyrie, in this case, is applying for Citium futures. That is, we have positive and negative news, but I think that for the Bitcoin price, it is still positive. For now, we have to consider that the Bitcoin price follows the traditional markets, because that is more or less what it was doing. Everything that lately was getting a little hooked. And, well, now here everyone has to take risks. Look for their benefit. No? Because if it continues to drop, well, it would be good to be in shorts. But I think that now, around this area here, all of this support area, I think that we are going to have a rebound here at approximately 28,000, between 28 and the 27,777, more than anything, to reset the RCI that is super oversold. So it's already slowing down. Here it could have another fall, yes. But I think it's going to try to correct it, and we'll see if it doesn't correct strongly, all depending right now the NASDAQ is about to close. Where I had it, well, it's about to close the NASDAQ. I had it somewhere, but I've already lost it. And therefore, I do not think there will be a very violent movement from now on, but we have to consider it, because look at how exaggerated how the RSI has fallen in a super violent way that we have not seen for a long time. That is why we said that we were counting down, and that this size was going to mark a violent movement of Bitcoin, and it has gone down. Now we will see if this drop has not been simply to gain liquidity, to break all the resistance now, that of 31,000, because if we go weekly, what we can see is that the IM ribbon weekly, it is making strength to hold the price, everything, and that we have broken the annual support, okay? If we see it here, we have this trend line that comes from 2021. Just now, the price of Bitcoin was taking that line in a spectacular way. You see it here. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to zoom in on this area here this year. And what we are seeing is that now the IME ribbon is going to mark, in my opinion, the rebound. Because if the IMEI does not hold up, as has happened on these occasions, what can happen is that we end up in a very serious situation. We would go to 25 or 0, even below. Already at 22, I see it as a bit exaggerated, but the IME ribbon now has to do its job and at least slow down the price and make a small recovery, in my opinion, if not a very strong one, because we already know that the Bitcoin price was precisely impacted on this line that came from many years ago, plus the line, the resistance, the 31,000, and now it is the IMEI, and the support is annual. Therefore, I'm going to show you my positions right now. I think that I have already taught you everything that I wanted to teach you, and you already know that I was in KuCoin and Bidget. But in both now they have put something like this. Therefore, I have removed everything, absolutely everything from KuCoin, and I have passed it to AmexSec. I do not know how to pronounce it exactly, and I wanted to show you, well, that the issue of bonuses, even if they are only $1,000, are very easy to get. For example, the first $5 are only moving $300 to the futures wallet. In other words, everything, and that the bonus is not much. It is very easy to get in other exchange houses. They are more difficult to obtain. No? So now I am going to show you the trade of $500,000. If you want to also participate in the futures contest that they are going to do, you have to sign up before August 23rd. I will leave you the link in the description of the video, and there you can create an account if you don't have an account yet. You simply go to the description of the video. This is yesterday's video. It sells everything, and there you have the link fully prepared to start the competition. You have it here, MEXX, with Transin money, and there you open your account and you can come and sign up to participate in the contest. Why MEX? Because it has 0 spot fees, and in addition to futures also 0, if it is not a taker, with taker 0.01 are the lowest fees in the market. Total. And another thing that I love, which is what I wanted to show you, is this $500,000 trade, which I'm right in the middle of. I'm going to put it on the other side. Let's see if I remember. And this trade of $500,000, notice that it says USDT, everything seems normal. And right now they are losing, but hey, I hope that the price of Bitcoin continues to rise and it gets above 28, and I get profit. It is a 20x and $25,000. Okay? What has left me more resolved about this is that in other exchange houses, when you make a simulated account, they put it here in the currency that is not USDT. But in MEXX, they do put it in the simulated one. They put it in as if it were all normal, USDT. The interface is exactly the same. The only thing here is future tests. You see it up here. Another thing I like is that it has a bunch of indicators here. It tells you where you've entered, where I love it. It is beginning to like it a lot, and so I will say what I think. At the moment, I love it next. And total that you can come here, receive demo coins, okay? At the beginning, it gives you 50,000 that I have already put everything in, and to be able to reactivate it from time to time. Okay? With which this was my trade of $500,000, that is, it is simulated, it is not real. But what I wanted to tell you is that, of course, when doing it with the normal interface, as if it were your money, it is interesting. I, of course, had never worked with $500,000. It's interesting how it makes you feel. No? Because although it has been visually simulated on the screen, it is not noticeable. So it's quite curious how it reacts to the mind, no? To the numbers and the colors, the $500,000 here. In other words, in the end, trading makes you change the perception of what money is, no? Apart from that, I'm also going to use, that is, the KUKO thing, and I'm going to pass it to, and the Bidget thing, I'm going to pass it to L Bank, okay? Why to? Well, to have more spread out the risk, and also because MEXX doesn't have greed bots, and L Banks does have greed bots, and doesn't, I'll tell you, it doesn't, how cool it is. Here, I have been doing a small train with Solana, and notice that everything, and that it has fallen, is in profit. And the interesting thing is that, of course, since I had so many orders, simply with the volatility that Solana has had, it has compensated me for the fall, okay? Because of the way Solana had to fall. An interesting thing, which is why it is always interesting to have open positions in greed bots to learn the different situations. No? Well, I will also leave you in the telecom group, the private group, which you have below in the description of the video as well. As I see this trait going there, other curious things is that, of course, here is to share the link and, well, you can share the amount. I'll also put it in the telecom group and, well, this is where I wanted to share about Bidget's grid bots. Well, basically, the topic of grid bots is a bit interesting because I have 2 grid buses, one that has already gone out of range since I had bought it up to 28,500. This one entered with 100% of Bitcoin. Therefore, I sold Bitcoin in 29,700, I think. And here this one still has not left my position, and therefore he is following me making purchases. No? This greed bot, for example, has entered my last orders. Well, he has bought me Bitcoins at 29,241, 28,868, and 28,500, okay? About $1,000, $2,300 each time. Every time, and I've already run out of purchases. Okay? That's why it says ranch exit, because basically this Grippo, what I did is I took the 0.7 Bitcoins, sold a little small amount at 29,700, and put it in USDT to buy back cheap Bitcoins in case it fell, like certainly has passed. Here it says that it is negative, but hey, that would be basically if you see, if I had sold all my Bitcoins, the 0.7s, at the time I opened this Greedbo, I could have made $900 if now he will buy back all those 0.7s in this moment. No? Therefore, I do not give it as losses, and in fact, if the price bounces, you will see how the big profits go up. And the east of here was the other way around. I think it was 29.2. I don't remember anymore, 29,200. It could be that I bought Bitcoins there. Okay? Here I went the other way around. And therefore there I did buy expensive Bitcoins, but in the fall it has bought me a lot of positions. In fact, 9 positions have bought me, and I still have positions left to buy. In fact, I have 3 left until 26,600. Okay? So this robot, this Greedbots, is still working. Very good. Well, that is how I have the situation. I will comment on how the Greedbots were also. I wish you all good luck with your straights in these interesting moments. I mean, because I would say that Bitcoin is bullish. The economy is bearish, but I believe that Bitcoin has never been so bullish. So, it is true that the month of August normally, oh, by the way, another thing that I wanted to tell you about, that right now the market is obviously so bearish, the market makers are probably going to liquidate at least up to 28,400, if not until the 30,000. So, well, everyone who makes the decisions they want, but it is true that the month of August is normally bearish. But with the whole issue that the first deadline is coming in September, the first deadline for the SEC to decide BlackRock's and get ETF or not, because I think that this is going to lead us to an incredible upward movement in the price of Bitcoin, everything, and that I believe that BlackRocky has been inside coin for a long time. Okay? It is a pity that I cannot show you the $500,000 trade positively, because if the Bitcoin price goes up now, it will be interesting how my psychology reacts. There will be big numbers here. Well, best of luck to all with your straights. Thank you all very much for your support, for the likes, for the subscribe options, for signing up at exchange houses with the links that you have below in the description of the videos, and for all the comments that you leave. Best of luck to all of you with your straights, health, love, and fortune, and see you in the next video.